word to describe Weep to Water the Black Earth, destructive.
One word to describe Weep, terrifying.
One word to describe Weep, push it.
One word to describe Weep, certainly immense.
Surfacing, I really like that song because we played it live, I think one time, and I'll never forget the look of disgust that was on the person's face right in front of the stage, and I really like that.
Surfacing's neat. It's got a section in the middle that you wouldn't necessarily expect upon hearing what happens initially in the track, but it certainly closes pretty hard.
Altar was a song that actually came to me really quick lyrically. It has some of the coolest transitions, I think, out of all the songs on the record. It stuck with me pretty quick on exactly what I wanted to write about, which I don't tell too many people. It's specific. I want you guys to kind of grab your own thoughts, and whatever I say, if it's poetic, then you get your own thoughts from it. But that one was a really quick write, and definitely by far one of my favorites on the record too as well.
There's a riff that comes in at roughly 50 seconds into this song that it's kind of funny because when I sat down and wrote it, I actually was just recording on the fly. Sometimes I like to do that and see just what comes out. And I played what you hear on the record, but then I had to duplicate it on the other channel for the right channel guitar, and so I actually had to learn what I just played organically. And just kind of a funny little situation I wanted to share.
They wrote the heart until it spit venom. This was a song title that I had for an older project that never got used. I'm a sucker for song titles that are a little bit longer, and I never seem to use them. And it fit the track perfect. It's relentless live. It's just a ton of energy, and it spits venom.
They rode the heart until it spit venom. That's a unique track because it's one of 3, I believe, on the album that was actually written collectively as a band. So it has little bits and pieces of everybody.
This is the heaviest song on the album.
It's awesome.
If you read the lyrics, it has a very machine-based subject matter. And for some reason, once you hear this ending of this song, it is one of the most punishing and definitely probably one of the fastest songs I wrote for the record, and one of the most fun to actually record. And we'll have to see what it's like when we do it live.
Haunted Air is quite possibly one of the more riffy songs on the album, and the approach that I wanted to take with this one was to focus a little more on triplet-based guitar riffing, which is something that's not normally in my wheelhouse. I don't know why. It's that rhythmic pattern is very intuitive to guitar playing and a lot of the shapes that are involved, but for some reason I'm not naturally drawn towards it. So this song, I challenged myself to do that, and that's something that I like to bring out of my writing, is to make personal challenges, and this was one of them. Write a song with triplet feels and triplet bass guitar riffs, and this is what you get.
Haunted Air, I love that song. It's one of the best structured songs on the album, I think. And the end riff is real bad for your health.
The ending, really, I'd have to say, sounds like upwards of 1 million people crying in one small room. It's pretty rough.
Become the standard, choking us with words from the points we've ingested.
philosophy. It's actually a title that John came up with, and it fits the song beautifully. It's punishing from the first note all the way to the end, and it definitely has one of the heaviest endings of all the songs on the record. And lyrically, it came out very, very fast. Corey from Bermuda did a phenomenal job of adding his lyrical swag.
And it was a really cool experience to be able to mix his vocals. I really like the way he sounds. It's captivating, it grabs you. I like the different layers of vocals that they provided for me too to mix. And I just really like the way he melded in with Chad in our project. It really worked well. And as far as the guitar riffing goes, the riff is very continuous. It's very much the same all the way through, but that's just kind of that vibe that I wanted to create. It's very Meshuggah-esque. It reminds me of something Meshuggah would do, to play that same type of a riff and then change the rhythmic feel to it as it just continues to drive. And then the ending is self-explanatory. Just I wanted it to come bursting out of nowhere and to just sound like everything is falling inside of itself.
This track, it makes me feel like suffocated, actually. By the end of the song, you do feel very free, but if you read some of the lyrical content, it's kind of about drowning in a sense, and a sense of suffocation. So it's a really cool track, and it has a lot of like emotion to it, actually.
Lore of Ocean is actually one of my personal favorites. The drumming on that song requires a lot of energy from me. Certainly something that I've spent some time with in order to learn. Definitely a challenging piece all the way through. What I think is really cool about it is how it's really kind of has three very distinct parts. All of each have their own character, but all of which are certainly represent continuity throughout the whole piece.
Probably one of my most favorite songs on the record. It is a breath of fresh air. Paul's lyrics and vocal delivery is just, it's so top notch. So it's definitely by far one of the best listens.
Zombie Hawk is a great track. It actually it showcases an element of John's playing that's really not present on the other 14 songs. Lyrically speaking, it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite, and Chad's performance is quite powerful.
Floating Intact. This song probably encompasses what Inverted as an album truly meant. An astronaut or somebody floating above the earth looking down at the destruction that maybe wasn't there, he didn't notice when he was last on Earth, and if he went back, would he recognize it? And it's actually, the point of the track is him above the earth, actually recognizing it from there, not even hitting the earth yet, not even hitting soil yet. So this track by far is my probably favorite on the record. It is, to me, the heaviest. The ending is just punishing.
Floating Intact is a lot of fun to play. There's not very many guitar notes. It's very chuggy, but man, I can't wait to play this one live. It just, the vibe it has is like aggressive, but pulled back simultaneously. And then that maiden breakdown kicks in, and then it comes back and surprises you. And I just really like how this one pulled out. Real simple, real aggressive, akin to something off of Chaos Fear in my mind. Not so much for the speed, but more so just how it doesn't have a whole lot going on guitar other than it's aggressive.
Floating Intact, it's simple, there's not much to it, but it gets the point across.
Rested
This is another song title of John's that I just love. It gave me a lot of ideas right away, lyrically, and I think it actually matches up with where the origin of the idea for Proper Skin came from. But it's one of those songs that, to me, music-wise, it has more of a sludge feel, and I'm just crazy into that type of music.
Proper Skin. This song was the last one to be rewritten for the album. Again, this was another one we were thinking about, man, is this really going to make the cut? And I just decided to give it another go. And with the structure in this one, again, I wanted to challenge myself to do something a little bit different, and that is to make it kind of chordal, more so than riffy or chuggy there in the beginning. And near the end, it just brings out normal elements from the rest of the album.
A song title that was actually a joke first, and once I started writing to it, I heard it the first time, it was the perfect song title for it. This by far is probably my most favorite live. We've played it many times. It's a crowd favorite. Lyrically, from some of the first words that I say, it hits home pretty hard. Once you read the lyrics, you'll maybe get an idea.
Really fun to play. I always liked the crowd response that we got when we played this song live. And this song is really just shows you all of the different creative aspects of all the members of the band, throwing all these neat riffs and transitions out at you.
Horrible Mud is very much a contrast between beauty and brutality. It's got really nice, clean, pretty parts, and then it's got some real nasty parts.
Newegg Sinkhole, another song title that was used for an old project that just was never put to use, and I loved it. The track was more of a very desolate feel track. It was almost like a segue, just beautiful though. And for me, it fit pretty perfect. And lyrically, I say one phrase and I repeat it over and over, which is something I never try to do. It was very much almost pushed to change it from John, but for some reason it was different for me, and I didn't want to go against that grain a little bit. I wanted to try to do something a little different, even though it was against what I normally do.
Newegg Sinkhole is actually the first song that I helped ADO write. It's kind of old, but it needed to be here. It's just another really good track that, in my mind, I do consider it more of a transition track, but just the lyrics to it are very, if I could say there was anything lyrically that kind of put a cap on this whole thing, it's that song. And it just lyrically, really honestly, is what drives me to really like this song. Plus the unique riff that Keith came up with at the beginning of it, that dirty, kind of melodic lead that drives the song. It just really works well, especially where it's placed on the album.
Every album you listen to usually puts you in a different mood or gives you a different feeling, and it's always based on the last track usually, and The Golden Purpose being the last track gives you that feeling, and it's really weird and nasty.
The Golden Purpose is simply me trying to make what I would consider to be one of the most visceral, dark, and terrifying audio experiences that I could put together at that time in my life. This song is just gnarly. There's not too many complicated guitar riffs on it, but that doesn't matter. It's this energy that the song draws to it. It's all of these elements that are behind there, the multiple guitar layers, the synthesizers that are playing in the background, the pads, Chad's vocals. the parts where I come in on the breakdown, the bass drop on the breakdown, just this song has all of these layers and elements to it that just seem to keep adding on top of each other, and then it's just colossal at the end. And Keith put it really well. It just makes you, ugh.
The song title says it all. It ends with that same lyric, "As the golden purpose stands." It is by far the most disgusting track that we have on the record, and if there was any song that I would want to put a stamp on the last thing you heard from Inverted, that's probably the most perfect thing that we could have put right there. It's definitely probably the most punishing and just disgusting track we have.